Hello, hello. It is 4:30 on Thursday, which means it is time for another episode of At the Maker's Table. I'm brought to you today by iBob's Bold Readers Blue Light and Prescription Eyewear that helps you make 7 statements a week. I am wearing the Kvetcher glasses today. I'm part of their Spring Maker campaign, and I'm thrilled to be sponsored by them here at Minnesota Monthly. All right, we are joined today by Kate Meyer, and I believe I have one of the sons with her as well today. As soon as she pops on, we will get this party started. I see Mother of Aprons. Are we going there, or are we going on Craftmade Aprons? Do you want to go on Mother of Aprons? Tell me, Kate. Or can you switch to Craftmade Aprons? We'll get this sorted out. I'm switching. Yay! All right. I've got my apron on. I'm ready for this. All right. Kate is a wonderful human being, a master sewer, an incredible product designer, a very proud mama. And we will talk about all of that as soon as she switches accounts and I get her on here. Let's see. Lakes and Loons, I like your screen handle. Here she is. Let's bring her in. Planty Queens, I love her aprons too. There you are.
Hi!
It was okay because I could just talk about you a little bit more.
Okay. I hope it was
Okay.
nice things. I hope they're all good.
Always nice things about you.
I need your long arm.
And I said I get both of you. Okay, do you want to sit or are you sitting?
I'm standing. I got.
You want to sit or you want to just bounce around?
There's all kinds of things for you to see. We're gonna stand because I got things to show you.
All right, well, let's get to talking and then we'll take a tour.
Can you hear okay, Jared?
What?
Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're working in here though, so there's a lot going on.
That's okay.
Good.
All right. So I said I'm joined today by Kate, and I see boy child Corey there. Trouble, trouble, trouble. And now your boys get all the talk, but you have a lovely daughter too. Tell us what she's up to.
Yeah, so I have my youngest. She's 23. She is now, she's got a regular day job. She's graduated from her college, so she's on to adult life.
But not a chef.
No, that's nope. No,
And that's okay too.
that's great. Yeah.
All right. So Minnesota Monthly is dedicated to the spirit of Minnesota. Tell me about how being in Minnesota influences your work, because you started here and were embraced by that chef community, but you are global now, baby.
No, we so the biggest thing that we wanted to do is make sure that the jobs stay here. All
Yep.
manufacturing is here. I mean, with that logo, how could we not? So we had to have, as we grew, we were just looking for avenues of how to make it work for that aspect. And being that I was putting in, and you know this, 14 hours a day sewing, I wanted to make sure that we found people that we could support and pay what it was worth, because that's hard work. It's really, really hard work. And I think sometimes that aspect is overlooked and people don't realize the hours that go into just making one of these units. I mean, we want the quality and we want the care put into it. So we're looking at all of those pieces here as we're doing it.
Yeah.
So the keeping the it locally made, supporting the restaurants was another big piece. And honestly, we were just looking at more small scale is what we were doing. So it was working with restaurants and chefs that we knew locally that had requested us. We did not think that within 3 years of me at my kitchen counter, making just like 4, would go to where we are right now with chef coats for U.S. Foods nationally as their full uniform with chef coats and aprons. So how we've been embraced kind of blows my mind. So if I seem a little all over the place, I'm still trying to process what we've been doing.
Corey, isn't this how she's been your entire life, though?
Oh, always.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's talk about Aprons. Let's talk about Craftmade. You kind of just nailed everything that stands behind that, but let's go all the way back to bourbon and talk to me about Grandfather Butcher.
So that's my grandpa was he had 12 kids. Was a butcher for the J.J. Hill. I'm gonna go grab. I'm gonna grab his picture. You talk to Jared for a second.
Oh my God. Miles a minute.
I knew she'd be bouncing all over the place.
Jared, look. I even have his actual. This is Grandpa's picture. So we have this, and it's like that's near and dear to the bigger piece of this is like family and the effort and energy that goes into that. I mean, if you can imagine 12 kids, that picture was when he was 19, but
Yes.
I'm the youngest of 8. So family and really honestly cooking and the energy that goes into that, but isn't that as a whole, like the whole, like we talk about makers and people wanting to give something, really it's like you're making something that means something to you and then giving it to someone else. And I think that aspect is in all of those pieces.
Absolutely. What do you think he would say to you today if you could see your apron empire?
I mean, it's like, it's hard to even, for me, I can't really grasp the concept of where we've come. So it's hard to think about what they might have thought of all this. So depression times, I mean, what they went through probably was similar to kind of where we're at right now. So the concept that we can continue to innovate and create jobs and keep working, and even at a time like what we're in right now, and that we're just, our heart is in that. I mean, I think it'd be pretty awesome.
I think he's very proud, looking down at you, very proud that you're continuing the legacy for sure. All right, so it did not always start with aprons. You have always been comfortable behind a sewing machine. So let's take you all the way back to those First Avenue days.
I could run and get you another picture, Jared.
Go for it.
So well, I mean, even before that, I would say I was 17, 18. I was 18 at a sewing machine, and I designed skate pants. So for like skateboarders, I designed these cool pants that rolled up and were like different colored fabric underneath and Velcro on the pockets, and they were really, really cool at the time, if you're thinking in the 80s. And I was selling those to skate shops for $40 a piece, and they were selling them for $80. So these were pretty cool back then. So that started with that. And then I would say as time went on, I just, kind of was in the habit of always making stuff that I wanted to wear. So that did translate to when I'd have Saturday nights at First Ave and had some really close friends there. They said, would you just do a fashion show here for us on a Saturday night, which was kind of mind-blowing to me because I wasn't a designer and I didn't have any aspirations for that, but I went and did it, and it was probably one of the coolest experiences that I've had.
So hey, Corey, is that bragging rights for you that your mom also is a punk designer at First Avenue?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So aprons, they elevate a home cook who wants to feel fancy, but they are workwear. They are tried and true protective workwear for a chef. So let's talk about how this started. 3 sons, all chefs. Corey's right there. He can chime in. But how did this, was he just whiny Corey? Oh, I need a better apron. Mom, make me a better apron.
I mean,
What's his face look like right now?
You're not far off. You're not far off.
I know you.
Big piece for me was there's all the expensive aprons out there,
Yeah.
and I was a line cook, and it's like I can't afford to buy this. So what's the next best thing? Go to mom and say, hey, can you make me something so at least I can feel halfway decent?
Yeah.
And from there on, we went and opened up to different friends that were chefs, and then they took it to the next level for us as well.
Yeah. Now, did she make you Halloween costumes growing up?
100%.
Okay, what kind of
100%.
costumes?
I don't think we even shared that with you. Is that just you knowing, huh?
I feel like the last one that I remember was
I was true one when he judged you and
I
you
was
guys
a pirate,
won.
I think, and he even did like the dried coffee beard.
Oh yeah,
And
I did that when I was
costumes
a
are always
hobo
made.
once, I think.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
Jared, so where we've gone then with that is, that we always wanted to, for me, it's someone that's wearing it, tell me what you need, how can we make it better? It became a problem-solving aspect for me, so that's, once we started that, then we had fishmongers coming and saying, what can you do for us to help protect us? And I would say one of the cooler pieces is now working with Nomex and working with these knife makers from like around the world. I would say the knife maker in Ireland that was on Food and Wine magazine and his support for the brand, and that we're making these Nomex aprons that are literally fire resistant, and then your Kevlar protection. So we have so many options, and they're 100% like water resistant. So you have this
I know
fabric that
because
moves and breathes. And
the last time I saw you, you were running a little late because you had set an apron on fire. You were out fire
that's what
testing
we
an
were
apron.
trying to do. I'm like, I put on an apron the first time I made it out of the Kevlar, and I went over to Corey and I said, do you have blowtorches? And he was like, I got two. And he goes, what do you want? And I said, will you try to light me on fire?
I bet he double gummed it.
I mean, he was a little surprised, but also he didn't say no. So what does that say?
That says something about a mother-son relationship. If you trust her, well, if you trust him enough to set you on fire, I think.
But so now we have like two different Kevlars. And I think one of the cooler pieces is that distillers have caught on to that piece. So we're working with some really awesome new distilleries with these aprons. So you have the Kevlar, so it protects you against the different chemicals that they use, acids, the normal processes of that, but they're water resistant. And so you just make them a little longer. But generally, our first layout for pockets has been perfect for what they need. So it's really those pieces have worked, but working with these different fabrics and learning what is best fitting for them, that's been one of our wins.
Yeah. Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
Is she a good cook?
She's a good cook.
What's your favorite childhood memory of her cooking?
Oh, this could be interesting.
I don't know if it's childhood, but definitely later in life, she was making a green curry that now we still make all the time as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you taught her things to cook?
I don't know. Generally when I go over there, I just cook for everyone. So
Or no, his favorite thing to say to me if he's cooking when I'm doing the cooking is he'll be like, so are you really gonna do that? Are you sure that's what you want to do? Is that your method? I think another cool part though is that when he was going through culinary school, and he came home one day and he was like, do you know that what you're actually made before is a bechamel sauce? And I was like, I did not know that there's any names to what I do, but I've learned what my mom taught me how to do. So I've always cooked based on what I saw and what I was taught. So there's been no instruction, but I would force them to cook as well.
Yeah. And we don't need to know all the fancy names. I make a cookie and somebody said to me, oh, this is a sablé cookie. And I said, I don't care. It's just a good cookie that I make.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to be all chef fancy, but if it tastes good, it tastes good.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah.
What's your favorite thing he makes?
Kind of, there's really just about anything, but I think for him, cooking any protein, like he's spot on, and so you're never going to have anything that's going to be dry or overcooked, and the flavor that he gets from just making something naturally is just good. Like he doesn't have to overseason. If you prepare it right, it's just going to blow your mind anyhow. So those pieces are like where I know that he wins. There are times, but Jared, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, and you tell me if you're on board with this idea, but I'm like, I have 3 sons and myself. I want to go on Chopped so I could have all of us, and maybe I would be competitive enough then. The weird ideas that I have, maybe I have a chance at winning and beating them, but that's one of my longer term goals.
I'll just call Ted Allen up after this and we'll make that happen.
I really want to do it. I'm not even kidding. They all get mad at me when I talk about it because they know that I'm weird enough to go ahead and do these things.
And Corey?
Yeah.
She might kick your ass on there too.
She might. She very well could. I could very well overthink this.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right. So you've talked a lot about kind of the research and development, the fancy term of it. But what inspires you? Is it just the feedback, or is it just knowing everything and the power that you're giving these chefs with the apron?
So I think the piece that inspires me the most is knowing that we are going to listen to the person that I call the wearer, the person wearing them, make something that's going to make their day better. But on the bigger picture piece is having the fact that we started Project Black and Blue and that we're actually giving back, and the fact that within this past year, we gave back $54,000 back into the community on our first year of functioning, and that's during the pandemic and everything. So we were able to raise funds, put it right back into the restaurant community that really, really needed it. So for me, I would say that's one of my driving forces, and it always has been from early on, is that I knew that I could give them something that maybe they felt really cool in, and they felt good in doing it and wearing it. And the people that I met felt like family to me. So every time I would meet somebody that wanted, here's an idea for an apron, and we were able to execute that, and even fabric from a past relative or someone, and incorporate that in, and know that they feel so loved and supported in that. But then we get to take that to the next level and have this whole other piece of the business where we actually get to give back to people that maybe don't have extra funds to purchase an apron. Well, now we can help them out in a bigger way. December of this year, we wrote out a lot of checks for people to pay their rent. And those are pieces you don't think about, is how much the industry has been struggling. And I have a single mom tell you, I can't work because my child isn't going to school. So to be able to do that piece, I mean, there's inspiration right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned that the program's called Black and Blue. What else do you want to say about it?
What's up?
You mentioned the program's called Black and Blue. What else do you want to say about it?
Well, so that's it. With Project Black and Blue, you can purchase aprons that the funds go into the project. Directly to you, but also people like to donate. So there's the option of just going on the website and doing a donation. In Philly, we have so much support in Philadelphia, and they Maker's Mark will hold events out there, and we'll just all of a sudden be getting a whole bunch of donations coming through our website. So we know somebody's hosted an event, and those funds come in, and we've been able to help even chefs in Philly. We had a chef that fell carrying a stock pot and burned his body severely and had to be in the hospital, and we were able to get funds to him and help out. So this isn't something that has to stay in Minnesota, but we're able to help out with this industry that's really kind of been overlooked, I would say, on their health insurance, mental health aspects, all of those pieces. And honestly, I would say one of the cooler parts for me is when I go into a kitchen to work with a chef or someone that's just designing their whole business, is I stop and I talk to the different people in the kitchen, which may be a downfall, maybe, because it takes a little longer for the appointments, but stopping and talking to a dishwasher for a minute and having them just appreciate the fact that they're seen as you're walking through, and that you realize those are hard jobs. I think we've all at some point done a little bit of those pieces in a kitchen, the dishwashing or serving, any of those aspects. We know that they're challenging, but we have to acknowledge and just embrace that piece. People are working hard, so we get to celebrate and have a good night out.
Yeah. Hey, Corey.
Yep.
What can we do right now to support chefs and the restaurants that are struggling?
I mean, I think Kate talked about Project Black and Blue a lot, but I think also getting out and either ordering takeout or getting out to those places that are open.
Gift cards.
Or gift cards. Yeah, we had talked about gift cards as well. I just think whatever you can to support your local restaurants. Obviously, everybody's kind of worrying what's going to happen after this with everything that's closed. But being able to get out and, I mean, I've already gone out I try to go out once a week or once every other week just to, I'm not cooking right now, so.
Yeah. Now, are any of you boys working right now?
Well, we have this one working right here, which I have seized that opportunity. I hate it so much that the larger catering events are not being held, but on the other aspect is I've been able to capitalize on one of the most skilled professionals that there are out there, and he's been able to help us with this really big project has taken more because we're setting up structure that wasn't there. So we're building that. So I've got this one. Blake at Swedish Institute is still working. And then Luke now is at Eat Street. So he is working and he's also going to school. Do you want to switch arms?
No, I'm good.
Switch arms and then we'll switch sides.
All right, you sure?
Well,
Yeah.
you teased about U.S. Foods, but talk to us a little bit about who U.S. Foods is and what the magnitude is that all those aprons are coming right out of Minnesota.
Yeah, so this, they came to us about a year ago and asked if they said they were having some issues with their chef coats that they had been wearing for 6 years and they were just ready for a change. And they wanted to embrace a company that they could get behind and support and know that they were doing good along with growing us. So we then worked on building the chef coat. And I'm even, like the one I'm wearing right now is like, I've been wearing this since I made it about a year ago. So we designed 14 different sizes and I wanted them to fit the women's body shape, the curves, and not have to put the piece that they said is that women are kind of expected just to wear a really large oversized men's coat to fit the curves, and they didn't feel good in that. You have giant sleeves, you just didn't feel great. And so everything that we have has stretch, it fits you, it feels really great. So that process and getting them set with, they've loved everything that we've done, and they switched from like they were wearing gray for 6 years, now they're wearing black, so they have this pop of their, like, look, we'll take you on a tour, Jared.
Yeah, let's do it.
So this was like first look, and then now we have this, and it's like everything just pops in that, and they feel so good and excited. And so now we're just getting emails and texts from them as they're getting their orders, and these chefs are so excited. So having a late night text come from an executive, and he's sharing these like, this is what came in from one of my chefs. I'm so excited to share it with you. And having that come in after a year of work and effort and wanting to make sure that we hit the mark with fabric, feel, how do your aprons look with it? So then we also have aprons that go with these coats. So we're doing those things, and we're also going to be working with them on a bigger scale on bigger projects. So nationally, all their chefs, this is their required uniform, which kind of does blow your mind. But then on the other hand, they want to just support and embrace the company as a whole because they believe in us so much and what we're doing. So, I mean, there are moments where you just start crying because you're like, how can you even process that you're head down working as we do in this job? We're so immersed in trying to do the job and keep up with the work that when somebody lifts you up and says those things to you and is like, that's all paying off, it's hard to not get emotional about those details.
Absolutely. And you should take those moments and celebrate. You should take those moments that you can be filled with pride because you are head down working, and you are an amazing apron maker, amazing mom, amazing everything. So you should feel good about that and surround yourself with the people I think you have that lift you up.
Jared.
All right, show us what's going on around that place.
Okay, so Corey will help we'll give you a tour because Jared, this is our third move in the year. So we
I haven't seen this spot yet.
No, so we started out with the first spot, and this is third this year, and I feel like we're already outgrowing it. So this one's pretty big, and I know that Corey will show you. I've missed gardening for the 3 years that I've been doing this, so I decided we have a really nice window in this shop, so I just got a whole bunch of plants in here.
I bet you feel like you're on vacation.
Do you know what's cool? We get chefs that come in here just briefly to do have their meeting with me, and they sit down at our table, and they just sort of stop and decompress, and it's just like, it just feels so good in here. And I'm like, I feel like I should have birds in here.
Why not?
We'll take you on a little tour so you can see some of the actual pieces that are going on because Jared, it's not just me sewing anymore.
There's a team back there.
Yeah.
Does this look good?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Perfect. Is that good?
Scan over the room. Scan over our fabric. Scan over this piece. Jared, look at this.
Are those samples or color swatches or?
They're
Oh
all
wow! Look at
built
that.
aprons, yeah.
I remember when they were all in the trunk of your car.
Corey's nice table. Yeah, so now we actually have a place to sit. So if you want to pop in. Oh, wait, there's more.
All right.
Are you coming with?
There it is. Very nice.
It's good, right? So the cool part, Jared, is that right next to us is Tattersall, and we share a little like outdoor patio space. So what we're hoping is in the spring that we can do some pop-ups with some chefs, which would be amazing. So there's chefs that haven't been necessarily in a restaurant anymore. Maybe they shut it down, but they're still wanting to do stuff. Our hope is, and I was just talking to Tattersall today, is that we could do a pop-up with them. So a combo, and it's outside, and we have plenty of space out there, which would be really awesome. So that's been my longer term goal. And I saw this space and saw what's the availability for those options are. I was really excited about that potential.
Good for you. Good, good, good. Well, tell me, Corey, let's see you again.
He's still here.
I would hope that you would be a good boy and tell your mom this all the time. But now on Instagram, tell her how you feel about this empire she's built.
We just talked about a lot about this today, and I think the cool thing is that I never expected it, but I always encouraged it. And I think even throughout all of this, we've kind of worked together through this whole process, and it's kind of fitting that we're here now and we're doing this same thing now.
All right, Kate, what do you want to say to him and all your boys about their chef careers and where they are?
Well, Jared, I think I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me go. You know it would happen. So I mean, don't do this.
I might get there yet.
How many times have I cried on your shoulder? So I don't know if I can do this. But I mean, to be honest, to have the support with these guys, I've watched them work so hard for, nearly 20 years. If you have, my son is 35, and knowing how hard he's worked and how passionate he's been, and to have him here with me right now as I'm doing this, because I've watched them work tirelessly for all these years. And that's why it's been so hard for me to know that they've been part of this industry. So that's another motivator for me to give back, because I know what it looks like to be the mom and your son comes home at 2 a.m. and has to get back up at 7 to go back and do it again. So you feel that pain for them. So at this point, he's been watching me go through so much these last 3 years where I've been barely able to keep my head up at times, and to have the support that they've been giving me, it's just kind of, it's a lot. It's a lot to process, because it's like the tables are turned a little bit, but they know, and I'm older too, so they know the pain that I'm going through just to kind of keep up with these things. But it does blow your mind to know that they can appreciate it's not mom's too busy. It's that they know the passion that I'm putting into this, and they get it. And I feel so embraced and supported that there are times where I'm crying and I'm like, I can't do this. It's just too hard. I think I've gotten myself in too deep. And they'll be the ones that'll throw me a line and be like, no, you got this. Can you even just stop and look at where you are right now from where you've been? Like literally, Jared, I was plucked from a garden. I have no other, I didn't graduate from high school. I didn't have post-secondary education. I've been a mom and a caregiver. I took care of my mom for 15 years, and I raised my children. And it's like, to have this happen, and that people believe that I can be smart and make good business decisions, like that's inspiring right there, that they believe in me. So there's people believing in me, and I feel like I can then in turn give that back.
Absolutely, you do. And I think that you've seen the struggle in your own boys, but beyond that, you know what it is as just a chef mom. So I would say to you, we're going to talk a little advice here. So what would you say to other moms of chefs out there? What would you say to them about how can they support their kids without starting an apron business?
No, that's the piece that's truly important, is to embrace them, that they're doing something they're passionate about. You have to be passionate about this industry to stay in it. it's challenging to watch because I know that maybe they were underpaid at all times. I mean, they're just not paid well enough. So you feel that in your heart, and you're like, I wish that you could do more. But knowing that the reason they're doing it is because they care so much about it, they're passionate about it. So just supporting their belief in that, and maybe giving them a hug or pat on the back or encouragement when they need it, when they're physically beat down and tired out. And I think the other piece is, even with bartenders, I've met plenty of highly educated bartenders who are like, my family just doesn't think that I'm an achiever because I've chosen this for my job, but they love their job. They like feel like they're part therapist, they're part mixologist. They get to do all these cool things. They get to also provide fun and enjoyment for someone, but their family kind of looks down on them because, well, they're just a bartender or you're just a line cook. Those pieces, like, we don't get to go out and have fun if we don't have those people. So I would say the biggest piece that I feel is missing sometimes from family is just supporting them and believing in them that they're doing this because they love it. So we got to embrace them and believe in them.
And I think that's true across any creative entrepreneur, because there's always people in your family, and there's always the people that you think should support you that will say, well, I've got a real job and you go mix drinks. So I think whenever you can support it, it's in your heart. Corey, what advice would you give chefs right now?
Keep doing it. I mean, I keep telling them, my mom, that it's like, I'm still finding joy right now cooking at home, but I think all of this is going to come back, and when it comes back, it's going to come back even harder. And I think that it's going to be busier and better than ever. And there's time now to work on new creative ideas and to start executing now, so that when the doors open, there's going to be new, beautiful, amazing food out there for everybody.
I think a lot of makers have struggled, and a lot of makers have realized that they can't quit making. It's in their soul. I mean, just like Corey said, he hasn't stopped cooking. He's still cooking and still finding joy in that cooking. So I think
I want to say there's also the piece, like, people have been, instead of working your 80, 90-hour weeks, they've had time to be at home and kind of finesse some of these ideas that they have. I wanted Corey to show you, just because they're creative and they're always looking to build and make cool things. He built me a table that's in the shop, and it was just a little thing that he did on the side, but you can see that they have passion and heart into what they do. I want us to show it to you, and I know
let's see it.
It's silly, but it's not, because this is part of being a maker.
It's embarrassing.
It's
what
not,
it is.
like,
she's a proud mama through and through.
Can you
Look
see
at that.
Isn't that cool?
Little live edge table there. That's beautiful.
It's cool, right? I mean, so you have, like, Corey's here, like, Corey, we really need a table. He's like, I got this cool idea. Let's do this thing.
Hey, Corey.
Yeah.
Could I get 10 of those for Rose and Loon?
Exactly. There'll be new live edge wood though coming out of my guy in the spring. So I'll be definitely making more tables.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, like you said, trying new things. I don't know if you're familiar with Jeremy Messersmith, but he, during this process, a singer-songwriter, has cooking his way through Sarah Kiefer's chef book or cookie book. He has taken up pottery, and I think you just find those things that you have the time to try and to play. And I think that all makers should do that, pandemic or not, to find that time to let your hair down. All right, tell me, if you could put anyone in the world in an apron of yours, who would it be?
I know it's gonna be so bad. I can't even say it. Corey would say it. Corey will say it. I mean,
I looked at her and I said, "Yours is definitely Snoop Dogg, right?"
It is. Okay. It is. It's so bad. It's so funny though. He cooks, and I think he's amazing and hilarious. So I think that would be fantastic. I'd have so much fun with that.
All right, I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, if you could cook alongside anybody right now, who would you cook alongside?
I know who you'd like.
I don't even know.
My bad.
No, well, I mean,
wouldn't that be amazing?
that'd be amazing.
Who was it?
Well, she had said her dad. Like if my grandpa was still alive, that would be incredible, because he kind of gave us the ideas that we had to take care of ourselves, but then always cook for us as well.
Yeah.
And so that was a big piece. I feel like otherwise, I don't even know. Maybe this young lady and I cooking together
On Chopped.
on Chops. Exactly.
I'll see what I can do about that one too. All right. Tell me where people can find the aprons.
So Jared, I have to tell you this, is that people have been like after me because they're like, we go to Rose and Loon and we want your aprons there again. You need to get back in there. So I think we probably, now that we have more inventory, should look at that, but they can come here to our shop. We're now letting people by email appointments can come in, and we'll work with you right here in the shop. We also have them at Lowry Hill. They are at Grocer's Table in Wayzata. And then our website, which is, we are selling out on our website all the time, and we like to put new different designs on there quite often.
I see that. And sometimes design contests between the two of you.
That's been so fun, and we're still doing that, and I have some really cool chefs lined up to do that with. We did Justin and we did Corey, but I've got other people on the edge that they're awaiting, and I just wanted to get the US Foods jacket piece under control before we went on to that. But that is so much fun, taking a chef who's creative into that giant fabric warehouse and letting them have their pick of whatever fabrics. It's really fun and interesting to see what they pick. So we're doing that, and I would say also watching Justin on that cooking show that he's on right now, that's really, really fun, and seeing him wearing our aprons and knowing who else is getting to see our stuff, and that's been really fun too.
Yeah. He's your other son, isn't he?
What's that?
Justin's like another son.
He really is. It's like, that's the cooler part, is like Justin's on a vacation in Mexico or something, and he'll give me a call and want to FaceTime me, and it's like, I do feel like I have more family, and that's how it is with a lot of the people in the industry. They'll text me or call me or just pop in if they have exciting news, or if they just needed a shoulder for a minute. It's not hard for me to do that, because I care so much about them and the support that they've given Craftmade. That's why Craftmade is a thing, is because we have all of that support. They've built this. And the crazier part for me is that I sometimes, especially during this whole pandemic, I'm holding back on sharing some things because I just feel a little bit of guilt and sharing some of these cool opportunities and things that have happened, because I know some of the people that I care about are struggling, but they say opposite. They're like, no, like, we need to hear about what you're doing, because
You cut out a second. But I think it is about celebrating with other people and finding joy in other successes when you've been part of the journey. Did you hear that? Can you hear me?
Kind of. We need to go plug in. Let's go plug in.
I think
We're
we're
taking
good.
you on a walk again.
All right.
Show 'em fabric.
Oh my God.
I know. This is fun, right?
So fun.
We'll wrap up, Corey. I'm sure your arm's tired.
No, that's good. Corey gets to have a little workout here while he's doing it, and this kind of, I'm laughing because he's been working out at the gym, so he's got some.
Look at that afternoon light and those shadows. That's beautiful.
How does that look? Is that nice?
It looks beautiful on you. It looks beautiful on the wall. All right, last question. We've talked about chefs. We've talked about advice for them. I want to know what advice you have for creative makers, and if you really, did you always know that you were onto something, or did you just feel like, oh, I'm just making another apron?
I was honestly pretty terrified, because the rate that I was being embraced and what was coming at me for this was way more than I could even imagine. So it was fantastic, but also terrifying. But I stayed in it because of the belief around me. So I would say anybody that's doing what they're passionate about, and I didn't know I was passionate about this. I feel like my passion was for the people that I was working with. So I think you have to find that little nugget in what you're doing, and then that drives you on those really, really hard days. So I think that anybody that's kind of onto something that they feel like they love, if you stay believing that it's meant to be for you, which you know in your gut when you're doing the right things, it all just seems to fall into place. So we've got some even bigger things that we're working on. The pieces are just falling into place for some really, really cool things for us in the future, which we're really, really excited about. So just staying open and believing in yourself despite what maybe the outside belief or idea may be, or that you're not checked all the boxes. I'm over 50 and not the best of health all the time, and that I'm not so educated, but honestly, I'm in this because of the people that love and support the brand and what we're doing. So that is the drive. You kind of know when you're embraced.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you
I'm
for.
so happy to see your face, Jared. I miss you so much.
I'm so happy to see you. I wish I could give you a big.
I want to grab you and hug you right now.
I know. All right. Thank you, Corey, for joining us. Where are you?
You are very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I can't wait to sit at a table that you've cooked for again soon.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you so very much. We love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. You can read the digital edition of Minnesota Monthly at minnesotamonthly.com. It is Grill Fest time, and you can buy tickets. Follow us at Minmo Mag, at Craftmade Aprons, at iBobs, at Mr. Jared Scott. I am back next week with the chef Amy Phelan from her home in Park Rapids. Until then, thank you from iBobs. May your life be every bit as interesting as your eyewear. Make something, be safe, love your neighbor, wear an apron, wash your hands. Be good. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Take care.